Okay.
Yes.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Irene, and today I'm joined by Sue, who's a participant in our Clear Skin in 16 Weeks psoriasis program. So I wanted to share Sue's journey with you. We're only 8 weeks into the program, so we're halfway, and give you some insight into what her journey's been like, what she's experiencing in herself, in her own skin and her health, and the opportunity to ask Sue about different questions so we can find out a little bit more about her situation. So welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
And so if we could start off by knowing a little bit about what your skin was like before you started the program, and even how your overall health was beforehand.
Right. Okay. Well, I've probably had psoriasis from the age of 21, and I'm now 64. And it's always been an ongoing battle. It started off with just a little patch on my leg, but over the years, I'd say over the last 10 years, it's got really bad. It spread from one leg, then to the other leg, and like a full covering down the bottoms of both legs. Probably a couple of years ago, it got really bad where I went to hospital because the lesions weren't just hard lesions, they were actually slipping on my skin. So it was sort of moist underneath. And then I went to a functional medicine doctor, and it sort of started to go, but it never sort of went away because I had it on the edges, so it cleared in the middle, but there was always the edges. And then so before I came to you, I was actually feeling a bit quite down because I sort of always felt like I could sort of control my psoriasis, but over the last few years, I started breaking out all over my body, over my tummy, over the backs of my legs, my backside. So every time I rubbed my hands on my legs or around my tummy, it was just all psoriasis lumps, and it was actually really disheartening, and it was actually quite scary because I'd never had it on my tummy. I'd only ever really had it on my elbows, my knees, and down my legs, and that was it. A little bit on my back, but not much. So it really sort of scared me when it started going all over my tummy. And I just looked, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I looked like a leper. It was just horrible, and it was really disheartening. And I just was at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do. I was continually looking for a vitamin or a herb or something but I just got to my wit's end in the end, and I didn't know what to do. So it was actually quite scaring me because I knew that it was my gut, and I knew that I must be really bad if it was breaking out all over me.
And did you have any other impact on your general health? Like, was it affecting, like you mentioned it was affecting your mood. Was it affecting sleep, or was it other areas that it was, or was it just your skin?
Yeah, it was affecting my sleep. I was waking up all the time. I was having heart palpitations. And I was having swollen ankles, so every time it was humid, my ankles would swell up, and then I'd worry because was it my heart? And it was just a continual stress. I just looked horrible. It was horrible. I mean, I was continually vacuuming the floor. It was really embarrassing. Just my DNA on the floor all the time. Or you'd go to your friend's place and I'd take a little hearth brush and shovel so that when I got up in the morning, I'd quickly sweep up. So it was just a total, it was horrible. It was just really embarrassing. And I mean, my husband and I have been together for 43 years, and it was like, it was not very nice, I think, for him to see it either. So it was a total low, I think it was low self-esteem, but I tried to hide that. No, it was horrible.
Yeah. And so what made you decide to do the program back now 8 weeks ago?
Um, I didn't really know what to do. And I was looking at your Instagram and I accidentally invited myself onto your Instagram. And I didn't know
I remember
what
that.
I was doing. And so there were people on there, and I'm sort of on the Instagram making a fool of myself because I'd never ever been on before. But I saw that you were taking people or putting the call out for people to go on a program, and I thought Chinese medicine. I mean, I'd sort of always heard good reports of Chinese medicine, and I just thought, oh, I'm going to put my hand up. I just sort of did it. I just made myself apply, not apply, but put my hand up, and yeah. So that's sort of how It was actually you on Instagram, yeah.
So what have you noticed the differences in the past 8 weeks with both your skin and your overall health? What have you noticed? What are the benefits?
I have noticed that it just feels really good to be under someone that's watching me. I hardly get heart palpitations now. I sleep lovely. It's just really nice to know that that it's almost like looking after us.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel a lot better. I don't have swollen ankles anymore. My psoriasis, I don't call it my psoriasis, I call it, because I don't want to claim it, the psoriasis has, for a while, probably for about 6 weeks, it didn't get worse, but it look, honestly, yeah, 8 weeks is a long time. All I can say now is, oh my gosh, I wake up in the morning and it seems that every day it's just getting better and better. It's getting flatter. I don't have the lesions anymore. I just feel like someone's looking after me.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just broke up a little bit before. So with the psoriasis, what changes have you noticed in the psoriasis over those two months?
Okay, so now the psoriasis is not, I don't have those big lesions. The psoriasis has got flatter. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do when I wake up is I rub my hands down my legs and it just feels flatter.
Yeah.
And and my sister will look at my legs and she'll go, oh my gosh, Susan, I've never seen your legs like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and my sister, my daughter says that, and then my husband says he tries not to look at it because he can get used to it and won't be able to see the changes.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's trying not to look at it all the time. But it's just really lovely to also rub my legs and and even when I get out of bed, so when I get out of bed, if we've got dark sheets on, every day I normally have to vacuum the bed because it looks terrible. But I've noticed that today and yesterday in particular, I didn't really have to vacuum the bed.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Yeah, I know that feeling. I know the twofold, the embarrassment of having the flakes, but the tiresome activity of needing to always clean it up. I remember when I was in China and I was sharing with a friend and I was just constantly sweeping up multiple times a day because I didn't want her to be exposed to it. It wasn't fair for her to so I completely understand. So what was maybe your favorite thing about the program? What did you or what are you enjoying about the program? You mentioned about being cared for, but what about various elements? Because we obviously have the treatment component and the nutrition and then the mindset meditation component too. Is there anything that has stood out for you over the last 8 weeks?
Yeah. So what the first thing is that you've actually taught me to take notice of my body when I eat things. And I mean, I've had it for that long. I have never looked at my or taken notice of my body when I've eaten something. So now I've learned that, there's some fruits I can't eat that I never knew. And so there's some things that I can eat, and there's some things that I can't. So the diet part of it, because I'm used to doing, like plant-based or vegan, or because you chop and change and you're always searching for the right thing. So I'm really used to disciplining myself with. I mean, it's like when you stop smoking, because I used to smoke, once you start smoking, sort of a wall comes up and you won't go near the shop to buy any. But once you do, that's it, you've lost it. So it's the same with the food. If especially when no one's watching you, no one's looking after you, you can think, oh, I'm just going to have that. And then that breaks what you've been doing. So I find the food pretty limiting for me. It'd be different for other people. For me, it's pretty limiting, but it's actually because I love cooking, it's a challenge. So, I made a lovely, I made some basil, mixed up some basil with some olive oil and salt and walnuts, and whizzed it up and put it over pasta with chicken the other night.
Oh,
It was delicious.
that sounds lovely.
Oh, it was so. This is what, because I love cooking.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I mean, look, if I could, I would be in the kitchen cooking all day.
yeah,
So it's a real thing for me. Look, I've done preserving. I've made jars of spaghetti and tomato soup and relish and Worcester sauce and everything. Everything I preserve, but I can't have it. But
yeah,
I still love making it, so I share it with my family.
yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I find the nutrition. I love it because I know it's good for me to watch what I'm eating. It's a challenge, but I look at the list I've got and I think, right, well, how can I mix all that? Because you can have so many herbs. So herbs make such a difference. And of course, we know about your meatballs, your Mediterranean meatballs. So
That's the favorite out of the cookbook, isn't it?
oh, and I've just got the muffins, the apple and walnut muffins down pat now.
Yeah.
So they're lovely. So the nutrition side of it is, at first you sort of think, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? But you actually do. You get used to it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And how have you found the treatment? Because I know a lot of times people, when we talk about Chinese medicine, sometimes, the herbs may not be very tasty, which at the end of the day, I don't think any medicine should be tasty. But how have you found doing the treatment? Has it been a challenge for you? Has it been pretty straightforward? What sort of adjustment did you have to make to that?
So when I got my supplements and the herbs, I sort of thought, now gosh, it's all sort of a whir, but of course it's just and sometimes I think, oh, I forgot to do that, because you've got to do it an hour after or an hour before, and then you think, oh, the next day I'll have to do it. But it's really nice knowing that. So the supplements that I've got are correct, because you've given them to me. The herbs are revolting. They are the bane of my life, but I know they're good. I know that they'll be doing good. So you just, and it's just like everything at first, it's like when you go to learn something, it's all sort of, you can't take in everything. But as you do it daily, it actually becomes really easy, and it becomes part of what you should be doing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So now, like we said, we're halfway. So you've made massive adjustments to your general well-being and your skin and your life, the different little habits that you've got. what is it that you feel you're looking at improving in potentially the next 8 weeks? What are things that you feel we need to be addressing over the next 8 weeks?
To be honest, I don't sort of think about the next 8 weeks. I just go along with what you're telling me.
Yeah.
So at the moment, my skin's looking great. Oh, not sorry, it's improved so much, and it's doing it daily now. It's doing it daily, so it seems to be a lot faster now. So for me, I just doing as I'm told, and I've got no idea what's going to happen in the next 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's so nice that I'm not in control of that. I mean, I am. I have to participate, but I'm just you. I just am relying on you to tell me what to do. When I first started with you, I remember you saying, I'm strict with my psoriasis patients. So I've got that in my head.
Well, I guess it's because I want, I know what it takes. And when I see people with psoriasis, I have that understanding of their emotion and their pain. Whereas when you treat other conditions, you can have empathy, but you don't understand their pain. You don't understand their challenges because you haven't been through that. You can empathize, but you haven't experienced their journey. But with psoriasis, I've experienced their journey. And that's why, in my mind, I want to alleviate it. If it takes, 4 to 6 months, well, I'd rather go 4 months than 6 months. That's the kind of way. But I think what I would like to know as well is if anyone's considering to do this program, what piece of advice or what would you suggest for them if they're considering doing this Clear Skin in 16 Weeks program?
Okay. So what would I suggest? I would suggest that they definitely get in contact with you, because I've just, I know that when I went to a functional medicine doctor, number one, they're expensive. But the other thing is, once I'd been to him, I didn't feel I could ask any questions. I just felt like I was out there by myself then. I didn't know whether I could bring him but for you, I just say anyone who's got skin issues, especially psoriasis, I would just say give you a go, because always the psoriasis has cleared in the middle, but there's always been the circle around. I've never been able to get rid of the circle, whereas now, look, everything's just flattening. Everything on my legs is just flattening, and it is a gut thing, and you understand that. I understand the gut thing, but you've got the knowledge. So I just think, people don't have to do it by themselves. They don't have to go. I was on methotrexate, and the doctor for 2 years, and the doctor forgot to tell. Well, the professor actually forgot to tell me to take the folate. So I took the methotrexate on the Friday, and then and every Friday I took it for 2 years. And but when I went to the chemist to have my script fulfilled, he said to me, how's your B folate? And I said, I've never taken it. So, of course, my white cells for 2 years had just been killed by methotrexate. So, and that's by a professional. So well, you are a professional. I don't mean that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
A dermatologist, that kind of, but I think sometimes what I hear a lot with my patients is that they don't feel like they've got the time with their dermatology. When they were seeing dermatologists, they didn't have that time allocated. It was usually a very quick consult.
Yes.
So we do the weekly group sessions.
Yeah.
How have you found being part of a group?
So now, I was just actually thinking about the group yesterday, and I was thinking, when this all finishes, I'm going to miss you, because I think that if you do, you just get, do you know what? I feel like you're my mother hen. Sorry.
No, that's nice. That's good to hear.
Uh,
It-
it, it,
It's it's one of those things I wanted. The idea of the group was to allow people to have that accountability, like you said before. Someone's watching you, you're less likely to sneak something in because you have that accountability, but also to form friendships. And I think that's what's happened with this group. Me included, I've gotten to know everyone. Obviously the treatment is a private session, so we don't do that in a group setting, but the nutrition and the mindset we do in a group setting. And I think because everyone's so comfortable to share their journey and their experience, we've created that unity that I think everyone feels supported,
yeah.
which is nice to see.
You said something to me the other day, and it's really stuck with me. And so it's made me even more accountable, because I know that there's been a couple of times I've said to you, Irene, I've got to confess this. I've had this or I've had that, and been really. I don't feel. I just feel like I want to be honest with if I've had something that I shouldn't have had. But anyway, I think I said to you the other day in one of our meetings, I think I'd asked if I could have something, or my husband was sitting in front of me eating caramello chocolate eggs or something, and you said to me something, and I can't remember what the conversation was, but I remember you saying, "Oh, Sue, if you had that with your legs the way they look now, it would break my heart." And so that has really I don't want to break your heart either.
Well, it's certainly not about me, but I've
No, I
seen your
know.
progress. Like, I get involved in your journey
Yes.
too, and
Yeah.
I see you healthy for the pure fact of alleviating those chains of
Yeah.
psoriasis that it can create in our life. Like, we feel it dictates what we do, where we go, how
Yeah.
we interact with people, and it can hold people back from reaching their true potential and their destiny.
Yeah.
Like, we all have our destiny here on earth. We've got something that we're here for. And when you've got something like psoriasis where people can see, they potentially judge you for it, or they're scared they're going to catch it, or that sort of stuff, it holds you back. And so seeing, because the lesions on your legs are quite large, and it's improved so much that I would want to see that keep going. That's what I meant by that.
And you know what? I knew exactly what you meant. It's almost like now a friendship, and it was not a thing where, oh, I don't want to break Irene's heart. It was more a free. I just thought it was lovely.
Yeah, and that's I end up cheering for you guys, because
Yes.
like I said, I've been in that situation, and I know the challenges around making dietary changes. And it's not, this program's not easy. It's not easy where I'm going to take a pill and I can just live my life normal as I have been, because what a person has done to allow them to reach this point is contributing to their illness. So I guess the idea of the program is to come in and disrupt that and change those behaviors, change the mindset, change, the type of food people are eating, give them a treatment that's targeting the inflammation and not the immune system. That's the biggest thing that the treatment's focused on, is we're targeting the immune system. We're targeting the inflammation, and then as a result, the inflammation reduces and the immune system doesn't react to it. So that's kind of so it's not, certainly not meant to be easy, but it's meant to create that lifelong resolution in the skin. Now, just wanted to ask, it just popped into my head, did you have any issues with your joints before
Oh,
you?
yes. Yeah. Yes, I did actually. One of my toes, oh gosh, it was a weird sort of a pain, and then it started to sort of bend a little bit, and I think that might have been psoriatic arthritis, but also my fingers too. I noticed that if I had cheese or butter, and of course, before I went to you, and I know I shouldn't have, but I was having cheese and butter, and these fingers were really sore when I bent them, and see the knuckles were starting to get bigger. My ankles, I'd get up off the sofa and I'd hobble to start my motor running to walk. You'd have to sort of hobble there, then you'd start walking normally. What else was there? Mainly my ankles. Oh, and the other thing was I've got 2 sausage dogs, and they sleep in a crate at night, and when I would lean down to put them in the crate, I'd sort of get to a stage and then I'd have to drop because my knees were too sore to help. But now, honestly, I can just get up and down, walk, it's great. But the other thing is that I must say there's 2 things actually. The inflammation was really horrible, and I just couldn't wear long pants. So yeah, I couldn't wear. I had to wear shorts. So of course I had to go out in public in shorts with all of that psoriasis over my legs. But I actually just learned to live with that. I just thought, I don't care if people don't, I don't care what people think of my legs when they see me. So I got used to wearing shorts, and I still wear shorts because the heat from my legs was too much when I wore long pants, and it would make it really itchy.
So you felt the heat radiating from the lesions on the legs, and then when you had the pants covering it, it almost was like increased. Yeah.
Hot. Yeah, it was hot on my legs. Yeah, I could feel it. It was almost like I had a hottie inside my pants.
Yeah.
On my legs. It was really horrible.
And that heat radiating out of your skin, are you feeling that at the moment?
No, it's not hot at all.
Yeah.
Not hot at all. In fact, I put my hands on my legs, and they're cold. They're cold. Yeah. No. I just, at the moment, my legs feel cleaner. They feel lighter. And that it's weird. They feel more. Yeah. They feel, isn't that ridiculous? They feel lighter, and they feel cleaner. But I think if anyone's had psoriasis that covers their legs, it's a weird thing. You can't explain it.
It's like the inflammation can cause the skin to swell a bit.
Yes.
And that's why you're saying it feels lighter, because that swelling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can feel my ankles now. I used to put my finger on my ankles and press in, and you could see a little dent. Whereas now I have my ankles. If I could lift my leg up to my head, I'd show you. But I tell you what, the other thing that encouraged me to go with you, that I must say, is look at your skin. I mean, you used to have psoriasis head to toe, and look, and it's, I mean, on the camera it looks beautiful, but in real life it looks beautiful too. It's absolutely flawless.
Thank you.
So that's a testimony for you. And so anyone who's got psoriasis, you're just a walking testimony of beautiful skin, and going from being in, because that's the other thing, because I read your book too.
Yeah,
I read your story, and
the Feel Great in Your Skin book.
Yeah, and that was a great testimony.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with psoriasis is that so essentially the immune system's telling the skin to shed every 4 days, and that causes psoriasis. But we would ideally want normal skin to be shedding every 28 days. So with that in mind, when your skin reverts back to that 28 days, it actually just goes normal. Like, we don't have that scarring. So there is that pigmentation that occurs when the lesions go, but that usually subsides over a period of time. I've certainly had that, but it's because it just goes back to shedding the normal rate. Why you don't necessarily see any scarring, whereas with acne you see there was bacteria in the skin, and that's damaged the skin, and that's why you can see remnants of people experiencing severe psoriasis, but severe acne, but psoriasis have that same element. Okay, so just to finally end, so I just wanted to touch on if someone is saying, okay, I'm sick of my psoriasis, or sick of the psoriasis that's impacting their body, because I'm like you, I don't like to become friends with the disease. It's purely indicative of the body not being healthy. What would be your last advice for someone who is looking into treating this disease from the natural perspective, and looking at it from a more of a holistic perspective versus through medications and immunosuppressants?
So for if you're going to go with immunosuppressants and medication, the thing is, it's not dealing with the issue. It's covering up what's happening. And if we don't have inflammation in our bodies, we won't be sick. We wouldn't be sick. So we've got inflammation in our bodies. The Western medicine is not going to deal with it. Everything is, there's just it's natural things that you need to do to. I just could not do medication. Everything, even though those herbs are just the bane of my life, they're really good. They're really good for me. They're good for people with psoriasis. Yeah.
And I think also, sometimes people can find it difficult to make those changes. So let's just say I have to change my diet, or I need to do things to improve my well-being. And it can be a challenge because people find it too difficult because life is too busy, or, family demands, or work is stressful. But the problem is that the longer we don't address it, the more it just bubbles away and gets worse and worse. So I think my experience with methotrexate, I didn't take it for 2 years. I only took it for a couple of months. I don't even know how long it was. It was when I was 18, and it worked for me to be discharged from hospital. But then while I was on it, all the psoriasis started coming back. So this was before biologics were around, and the doctor just said, there's nothing we can do. You're just not responsive to the treatment for whatever reason. And so it was really depressing at the time, because I actually was devastated, but it was a blessing because it allowed me to deal with the actual problem that was there. So I think I think one of the main factors is for people to recognize what they're looking for when they're looking for a treatment. Do they want something to just ride through for the period of time, or do they want to just get down to the nitty-gritty and get rid of it and resolve it? Because the main thing is that you're not going to have to take these herbs once we clear the skin. Like, you don't have to.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah. You don't have to take these forever, because the idea is that we're healing the body, right?
Yeah.
So, whereas with the medication, you have to take it for as long as you want the results and the benefits of it. So,
and also with Western medicine and taking the medication, what they're saying out there is there's no cure, so there's no hope. with the Western medication. With holistic, there is a cure and there is hope. That's the difference.
Yeah. And I think it's a matter of recognizing that, you know, we need to live a certain way, and it's not just psoriasis, it's everything.
Yeah.
Because psoriasis is linked to metabolic syndrome. So it's not just psoriasis, it's so we don't get diabetes, or we don't have heart disease, we don't experience a stroke. Like it's beyond. That's the thing with psoriasis, it's a systemic disease. If it was just a skin problem, it actually would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it impacts, like you mentioned with your joints, it impacts so many, like your entire body. Yeah. And so there basically will have to come a time where each person who has psoriasis will need to deal with it from the ground up, and not just from the superficial surface. So they go, oh yeah, my skin is really good, but then beneath that surface there's not much healing happening. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go now, because I've taken up a lot of your time. Thank you for sharing it all with me. It's really good to hear it and to know what your experience has been, and I hope other people are finding it valuable as much as I did. And I look forward to the next 8 weeks, and we certainly can keep in touch after. So don't think it's, I'm sure we'll keep in touch, especially when you move into state. And I'll be eager to see how your journey goes for the next few weeks. So
yes, me too.
I'll see you Monday.
Okay. See ya. Thank
Bye.
you. See ya.